The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello and welcome to the new channel. Born out of passion, we are a community that helps you be the new you. I'm Michelle Mras, PhD, streaming live from the beautiful mountains of Colorado, United States of America, and you are watching Mental Shift Season 5. Well, good evening to the United States and to the Philippines. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Tonight's guest is America's #1 healthy living media expert, mentor to millionaires. He's an internationally acclaimed educator, consultant, business leader, speaker, world-renowned chiropractor, and president emeritus of Parker University. He is also the best-selling author of Chicken Soup for the Chiropractic Soul, Hay House's international best-selling author of The Power of Self-Healing, host of the TV series Thriving in the New Normal, a popular radio show, Self-Healing with Dr. Fab, and podcast, The Fab Life. He's been featured on Dr. Phil, The Doctors, Fox News, CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, Univision, Telemundo, and others. And he's been interviewed in various documentaries and has received honors including Heroes for Humanity, Humanitarian of the Year, CEO of the Year, and induction into the Wellness Revolutionaries Hall of Fame. He is amazing. He's fabulous. Please welcome Dr. Fabrizio Mancini. We just call him Dr. Fab.
Thank you, Michelle. What a pleasure to be with you.
I'm so glad we were able to get you onto the show because you have such an incredibly busy schedule. And when I asked you to come on, I'm like, oh, I hope he can make it.
Well, I'm always going to make it for you because I'm a big fan. And more importantly, it's my mission in life. Recognizing that all of us can pretty much achieve more than what we're living. And I think that this is what a great conversation we're going to have today.
Exactly. When I met you at Craig Duswalt's Rock Your Life conference, I met you and went, 1, I love your smile. 2, we connect so well. And I wanted you to be shared with my whole audience because they have to realize I'm not the only one who keeps smiling like this. You do too. Look that smile.
And I'm excited we're in season 5 because 5 is my favorite number. So I'm really, really happy to be with you.
Yay. Okay, well, the show is called Mental Shift, and you have had so much happen in your life, and you've had major mental shifts. Can you explain, where'd you come from, and why are you doing what you do now? And then I'll interrupt every once in a while. How about that?
Well, it's interesting. I was born in a city called Barranquilla, Colombia. It's the home of Shakira and Sofia Vergara. And my father is Italian descent from Tivoli, Italy, and my mother is Colombian. So I was raised with a very loving home. But unfortunately, we were raised in an environment where my father was not very happy with his career choice. He was kind of forced to work with his father, and, uh, and he became an alcoholic. And in order for my mother, five boys with five children, to be able to have a little bit of sanity, we moved to the United States to see if my father will be able to conquer uh, the alcoholism and be able to regain his balance and happiness and joy that he had lost. And the blessing was that he entered a treatment center for 6 months, and he actually stopped drinking. And we were able to have our father back. But one of the things that I realized when we moved to the United States is that everybody thinks that it's a land of opportunity, which it is. I believe opportunity is everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are right now. There is opportunity facing you right in the face, but it's up to you to recognize it. And it's up to you to do something about it. So when we moved here, I didn't speak a word of English. So the first thing that my school did is move me back 2 years. I lost 2 years of my life with the move. That wasn't an opportunity that I was looking forward to. And then I realized that it was a different culture, a different language. I didn't speak a word of English. So it took me a little while to make friends and to be able to feel connected with others. And I was the only Spanish speaking person in my class. There was only one other girl that was American, but she was Spanish descent. And she would sit with me after class for 3 hours to go over what the teacher went through. And I had to learn that being a good student is not about being smart, it's about being disciplined. And because of that discipline that I spent going over that class with her, even though my English was not great, I became one of the best students and graduated top of my class and actually regained a year and a half of school while I was still in high school. So I believe when you talk about mental shiftness, I believe that we need to recognize that our thoughts, our mindset, pretty much is what dictates our outcome. And I learned very early in my life that even though my circumstances may be challenging, I always have control of my mind. And my mind is what allows me to respond to those circumstances in a positive way, in a constructive way. Even if I'm dealing with major challenges right now, whether it's a sickness, whether it's a relationship issue, a financial issue, a job issue, I can always rely on a positive response, and that will lead me to a better outcome.
Exactly. Choices. Life is a choice. And everything we do, we can take one side or the other side. You could have went, woe is me, I'm here, I don't speak English well, and crumbled, or step up and find another way. I tell people, you must be like water. You can either go over, around, or through. You can be dammed up for a while, but you've got to break through that so you can find who you are meant to be. And we're so glad that you broke through and found your way to be, and very appreciative of that young lady who sat with you and helped you go through those courses, because who would you be today? You would have eventually found your way. But that learning process that you came to in your grade school years helped you propel you to the next level. Because I know you went to school as full chiropractor, but you detoured a little bit and started doing so much more. Didn't you go to school for something else first?
Well, when I finished high school, I went to university for pre-med. And what happened really was, you know, sometimes our greatest blessings come in disguises. They come in challenges. And when I was 16 years old, I went back to Colombia to visit my family. And unfortunately, after a beautiful reunion with my friends and my family, I was sleeping in my aunt's house, and robbers came in to look for a safe because they thought that there was money there. And my godmother and my aunt and uncle have just moved to a brand beautiful new house, and unfortunately, they came in at night, and I got woken by the back of a gun hitting me and saying, "Where's the safe?" And I didn't know what to do, so I tried to yell, and they took my socks off and put them in my mouth. I tried to run, and they tied my hands and tied my feet. They kept hitting me and taking the socks off, and I kept saying, "I don't know where the safe is." They almost killed my brother next door. But by some miracle, The police came because the neighbors called the police thinking that there was something going on in the house. And I remember, Michelle, sitting that night in the hospital and recognizing that my life could have been over at 60 years old. And that's when I learned one of the greatest mental shifts that I had. One of my greatest lessons came when I realized that most of us are living either in the past, thinking about how great things were. I wish we were back there, especially the people during the pandemic. They're still going back and thinking, I wish we were back in before the pandemic. When in reality, uh, most people live in the past, or they live in the future thinking, one day I'm going to be this, and one day I'm going to have this, and one day I'm going to have a title and power and money and the beautiful girl and the beautiful boy. But in reality, every opportunity happens in the moment. So I learned, Michelle, to live in the moment. Like if there was only 24 hours, that was probably the most foundational mental shift that happened in my life early on. I learned and recognized that opportunities are never in the past. What happened in the past, whether it was good or not so good, leave it in the past. Let it go. Embrace it, celebrate it, but let it go. And don't be so eager to wait to the future, because the future may not come. I could have died at 16 years old and never been able to do everything I've been able to do. And because I developed that attitude in my relationships, in the way that I apply myself in school, with my family, with my friends, playing sports, I was a big athlete in school. I recognized that that's when it started opening every opportunity for me. And that's when I had my dream that I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor and help people prevent illness. And I actually saw myself taking care of thousands of people around the world and being able to help them with their health. So I did go to pre-med. I did go to chiropractic school, but then I became an acupuncturist, a nutritionist, energy medicine expert. And in the whole wellness world, I made a lot of contributions for over 35 years because it's my passion. The health of humanity is my passion. And I want people to recognize that when you have good health, anything is possible. But how many times have we met so many people that have everything materialistic, but they have no health? So they cannot go to work because they don't feel good. They cannot enjoy life and go on trips and go walking and hiking and swimming because they cannot do it. They're in pain. Or maybe they're dealing with an illness because they didn't take care of themselves and they abused their body. So that journey allowed me to recognize my true purpose in life, to realize that only when I started living in the moment, whenever I realized that it doesn't matter the past, it doesn't matter the future, but every single day is an opportunity to fulfill your potential as a human being. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's one thing that I struggle with, because a lot of people think I can't do something until it's perfect. I mean, I wrote my first book. It was Chicken Soup for the Chiropractic Soul. I don't even speak English. I don't even can write in English. And here I was writing for the biggest best-selling series of all times of books. And my book became an international bestseller. We sold 400,000 copies in the first 2 years. Never in a bookstore, never online. And it made me realize that it wasn't about being able to speak English or write perfectly. It was about sharing a message that I believe in. And then people resonated with that and they were buying it and telling everybody that they should buy it too. But none of that would have happened, Michelle, until I recognized that I needed to live in this moment. And I can't be going to bed worried about what's going to happen tomorrow or not happen tomorrow. And I can be going to bed beating myself up for the mistakes that I made today, or the things that I do right today, or the things I should have done today. None of that really matters. What really matters is that if you get to wake up in the morning, you are grateful. And then you realize, I got one day to make a difference. I got one day to contribute. And what am I going to do with that? And the more that you apply yourself in that, everything else follows.
Woo-hoo! You're preaching to the choir.
I know, girlfriend.
Because I wake up, people are like, why are you so happy all the time? I'm happy to take every breath I take. And so that is why I wanted you on the show, because I want that passion that you exude, and that it's not just for single people every once in a while. It's for all of us when we step into it. I was one of those people who didn't take care of myself, who didn't truly live my life because I was so beating myself up for all the past things I didn't do and thinking, oh, I'm in my 50s now. There's nothing I can do about it. And I was giving up hope. And all I thought, as society tells you, is as you get older, you just get sicker, more sick. Just expect it. And so I was expecting it. And then when I found out I got the brain injury and then discovered that I had breast cancer, it was like, wait a minute, I need to make every moment count now. If I'm going to die tomorrow, today is going to be my best day. Then the next day I didn't die. Okay, then today will be my best day. So it took me into close to my 50s for me to figure out what you did at 16. And I wanted that story out of you. So all of you out there listening, I see you, I see your eyeballs. Come on, ask questions to Dr. Fab, because this is what mental shift is about. Finding that shift in your life so you can live that fabulous life that you're worthy of. All of us are worthy of being healthy and being the best versions of us. And it doesn't matter what age you are, you can find the healthy you. And that's what Dr. Fab is doing. His dream is to help thousands. He's helping bazillions across the world. And you overexceeded what you wanted. So what I say to all of you right now who are listening right now, and if you're watching the replay, if you're listening to the replay, what's the best version of you? Why aren't you walking towards it? What's stopping you? Make a choice. Start walking. All right?
And it's so beautiful the way you said that, because I recognize that our current reality does not have to be our destiny. I think a lot of people measure themselves by two things. Number one, they see where they are today and they all of a sudden feel that maybe that's going to be their future. And that's absolutely wrong, because you can begin to make a shift right now just by simply deciding that something will change for you for the better. And number two, stop comparing yourself to other people. Michelle, this was one of the greatest mental shifts that I received early on in my life. Is I saw how so many people compare themselves in high school and in college and in university and in life, in the workforce. Everybody's always comparing. Look at the person, what they're driving. Why can I drive a car like that? Look at the shoes they're wearing. Why can I have a shoe like that? Look at the beautiful homes they live in. Why can't I have a home like that? And the reality is, the only reason that you're different is because you haven't thought and you haven't done what other people have done. So all you have to do is get into their space and find out, interview them and say, listen, do you mind if I ask you a question? Did you always have this, or was it something that happened in your life that allowed you to have this beautiful home? And what you find almost every single time is that most people had to earn where they are. Yep. Nobody gave it to them. And this is the biggest shock that people have. They think that just because somebody has fame or power. I mean, how many celebrities have I met in my life that have told me they struggled for years before anybody noticed them, before they got an audition that made them a little bit of famous, before they started making $100,000 a year. They starved. They were living in cars. They were living in motels. But nobody sees that. They only see that the celebrities today, and they're living in a beautiful mansion, and they're in the cover of magazines, so they must have been like that forever. So the mental shift there, the lesson there, is you have to make a decision. One time, one of my dear friends was Bob Proctor, and we lectured for almost 30 years together all over the world, and we were in a mastermind together. And I asked Bob one question, Michelle, that really surprised me. I said, Bob, in over 65 years of you teaching the world how to be more successful, what is the one thing that you think has kept most people from actually achieving success? I thought it was a pretty good question. He looked at me and he said, Fab, the number one thing that I have found is an indecision. An indecision. He says, in order to achieve success, you must decide. You must decide to be successful. You cannot be, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, perhaps another time, maybe this is not the right time. No, make a decision, and it doesn't matter how big of a step you take. But once you make the decision, the whole universe will conspire to bring you and attract to you the people, the opportunities, the money, whatever you need to achieve what it is that you want. So I'm asking you today, if you want to make and have an amazing shift right now, make a decision that you've been hesitating for right now. I'm going to eat a little bit better so I can lose 10 pounds. Make a decision right now. What can you change in your diet today, tomorrow? I'm going to exercise a little bit more. Great. Even if you start with 5 minutes a day, jumping jacks, sit-ups, whatever, just walking. Do it today, but make a decision. And I promise you, that decision will lead to other decisions. And don't expect the decision to be perfect or to always work, because sometimes you have to fail in order to grow and make a better decision. And that failure allows you to be your best lesson in life. So I never look at my failures as failures. I look at it as stepping stones, learning experiences that allow me to make better choices tomorrow. And because of that, I've been able to allow myself to live this amazing life that I created.
Oh, most definitely. People, you need to look up Dr. Fab, okay? Look him up. Because my thing, I tell people all the time, look at your fingerprint. None of us have the same fingerprint. So why do you think the exact same path someone else takes is going to work for you? We are unique in everything about us. And so when you are working through whatever you want to do and you look at like the comparison thing, oh, I wish. What do you want? Take a step. Go make it happen. Go do it. My dog says yes. But see, that's the whole, Brian asked a question. Is it really just a shift in your thought, or is there a motivation, a why? I can explain from my point of view. I wanted to live. When I got diagnosed with breast cancer, I wanted to live the best life I could in the time I had left. And so I made a decision that I was going to help my body be as healthy as it possibly could to fight. And so when I go out and speak now around the world, I talk about making the choice to make a difference now. Like you said, one step, one exercise, one choice. And what was my first choice? I'm going to cut out chemicals out of my food. And then the next thing was, I'm going to walk up the stairs twice a day in my house. I have 2 stories. I would just go up and down the stairs until I got tired. And then I just built this energy about me. And then I'm like, you know what? That was easy. I'll add something else. And so every other day I added something else. And I showed you my story where I used to be 389 pounds and now I'm me. And by all technical medical science, I couldn't do this. This is not supposed to happen. But I'm healthier now at 53 than I was at 16 when I used to drink soda and eat a candy bar in a day. And that was all I had, and I was, people are like, but I didn't eat a lot. I only had this chemical and this chemical. And I don't know why I'm not. You're like, your body doesn't know what to do with that. And so I learned the hard way late in life that 1, life is a choice. 2, it's like a GPS. You can have a destination, but be flexible how you're going to get there, because you can't just say, I'm going to do this diet. Oh, darn, it didn't work. Guess it's never going to work for me. No, you have to find out what your body adjusts to and work through it till you find what works for your GPS, to your end goal. And I honestly, I can just go off screen and just let you talk because I love listening.
Well, let me share a little bit about Brian's question.
Yes.
In my experience, what I've learned is that it begins with an awareness in your part that there's something more out there that you are deserving of. Many times what I find why people don't reach their potential is because they don't think they're worthy of that potential. And many times it's because they got uncomfortable. They got uncomfortable with people like them. They got uncomfortable by listening to other people's opinions of them and definitions of them rather than coming up with your own. They got uncomfortable with the attitudes of other people that say, we're never going to get out of this hole. We're never going to be able to go to school. We're never going to get a degree. We're never going to get a real job. We're never going to make more than $10,000 a month, whatever. So awareness is, I believe, what begins. Now, where your passion and where your why becomes an issue is what I call for sustainability. When you have a big why, it allows you to get through the difficult times because none of it is easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But the reality of it is nobody told us that it was going to be easy. For you to change from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow, what's easy is making the decision. You make a decision and instantly you can change your life. Now, getting to the outcomes so your life can really be different is going to take some work. You have to dispel some of the belief systems that you have grown up with. That's a big one. If you grew up in a family that told you you were never good enough and that you were never going to amount to anything, that's a difficult thing to get over. So you have to work hard in trying to train yourself in that and to do affirmations and to be able to remind yourself that you're worth it, that you're good, that you're going to be great, and you're going to be able to accomplish everything that you have to do. So the why needs to be something bigger than you. I always find that the why has to be something bigger than you, because the problem is that if it's just you, sometimes you limit your potential of the why. So in my case, for me, my why has always been for the sake of individuals being able to live a life that is full of joy and love and peace, because I've seen it, I've experienced it, I know what that feels like. You know, when I lost my father because of a complication of a surgery, it was very difficult for me because my father was not making good, healthy choices. And I realized that I've been a doctor, but I've helped millions of people, but I was not helping my father. And when I wrote my fourth book, I dedicated it to him because I started thinking of all the fathers out there that are gone early or that are getting sick too soon or that are getting dementia in the 30s and 40s. That is unrealistic. We need to realize that our health, the problem and the reason that are so unhealthy in the world is because of the thoughts and the choices that we're making every single day. And I always tell people, you want to know the secret to health? It's not necessarily being able to make a plan for the rest of your life. It's making little choices every single day that allow you to make better choices tomorrow. So the choices you make today is what determines where you will be tomorrow. And then the choices you make tomorrow is what determines how you'll be the next day. So a lot of times I find, Michelle, that a lot of people hold themselves back because they try to make it too complicated. I don't have a long-term plan. I don't have a strategic plan. I don't know where I'm going to be a year from now. Don't worry about that. Just make decisions for today and let today take care of tomorrow. And then let tomorrow take care of the next day. And that's how you start getting and evolving into the person that you were destined to be, not the person that you currently are.
As you said earlier, in the moment. Stop looking in the past. Stop looking towards the future. Stop looking so far in the future. Today, what can you do today? And I really don't want to break this for a commercial, but we have to break for commercial. But when we come back, we'll learn more about Dr. Fab, because you need to show this to your friends, share this live stream, because you can be changing their life right now by just sharing. Make a choice. We'll be right back after these commercials. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Michelle Mras, and you are watching Mental Shift. Please share this live stream. Did you know that TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go? Please watch all the shows as seen on the screen. Now, imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Watch Mental Shift on replay or right now, like you're doing on Facebook and YouTube. And basically, go out there and follow us. Follow us on Instagram and listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search the hashtag TNC Now. Now, for sponsorships, please email NOW now at thenewchannel.com or just send us a direct message straight to TNC. So enjoy these life-changing shows because we made them just for you. Welcome back to Mental Shift. My name is Michelle Mras, and we tonight are speaking with Dr. Fab. And I'd love for you to go find him, look him up, look for his website. It should be on the screen very soon. And that way, drfabmancini.com. Look him up, find out what he's doing and where he is, because he alone, just following him alone, will change your life because he's changed mine in just the short time that I have met him just a couple of months ago. So please welcome Dr. Fab.
So much. So excited. And thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you made it on. Your schedule is crazy. So like you've told, I mean, I saw you at the Rock Your Life convention, right? The summit. And you were talking about how you've come from one place to the other. And then you were talking about health. And then I told you about my health. And then we kind of clicked on how we can change our lives at any point in our lives. And it's a choice, one little choice at a time. And I encourage all of you who are out there listening and watching, who are sharing with your friends right now, that, as Dr. Fab said, one choice. Don't beat yourself up about billions of choices. Don't think about 20 years from now. Think about today. What one thing can you do today to make a difference in your life tomorrow? So, Dr. Fab.
One of my favorite quotes came from Albert Einstein, where he said, "We can't solve the problems of today with the same level of thinking that created them." So when we're talking about mental shift, it's really giving ourselves permission to look at things from a different perspective. So let's say that right now we're having a financial difficult time, right? I have found in life that finances are something that sometimes you're up, sometimes you may be down, sometimes you're up, sometimes you may be down. Very seldom have I seen somebody stay up all the time. And the reason for that is that there is a lot of decisions and choices that we make during that time. I have had friends of mine that were millionaires that all of a sudden their managers ran away to some foreign country and took all their money. And even though they were sitting and thinking that they will never have a money problem in their lives, they found themselves starting again. I have found individuals that make investments where they get a little bit greedy and they think that, oh, I found the one that's going to make me retire early and I'm going to put all of my finances in one investment, when the investment does not work out and now all of a sudden you're in a difficult place. So when I read that quote, you can't solve the problems today with the same level of thinking that created them. Michelle, what I've learned to do is that whenever I have a challenge in my life, first of all, I look at it as a blessing. I never look at challenges as a punishment, always as a blessing. It's like a friend coming in to teach me something, to push me to grow to the person that I was born to be, to help me understand that there's more to me than what I'm living. That's what a challenge is about. So welcome it, but then look at it from a different perspective. And always ask yourself one question: what can I do today to ensure that I never find myself in this place again? That's all you have to do. I've been asking myself that question for years. Anytime that I'm dealing with a challenge, whether it's a relationship challenge, a money challenge, a media challenge, a relationship challenge, it doesn't matter. You ask yourself the question, what can I do today in order to find myself never in this position again? And then begin to look at it differently. Think about it differently. Most people, the problem is when they're facing a circumstance, a challenge, a problem, they become paralyzed because they don't know what to do. So they dwell on that problem. What am I going to do? I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. How am I going to feed my children? How am I going to drive to work? How am I going to do this? And you spend 80 to 90% of your energy on the problem. So what I've learned to do in shifting from what Albert Einstein said, I began to think about it differently. I began to think about solutions rather than dwelling on the problem. I give myself permission to recognize that there's a challenge in front of me. And then I go full force and asking myself, what can I do different right now? Is there something that I can learn from others? Do I know somebody that has been through this before and they got out of it? Maybe they have something they can share with me. Is there a book out there that I can read that has maybe solved this problem? Is there a seminar that I can attend? Is there a podcast like this one that I can actually listen to that can allow me to get out of this hole, to get over this problem? So when I start changing my thinking about it, all of a sudden I start looking at opportunities to surpass it, rather than what I find most people do is that they become victimized by their circumstances and they become paralyzed. So what do? Nothing. Nothing. And they keep telling people, well, I may do this or I may do that. And a year later, they're in the same position or worse. 2 years later, they're in the same position or worse. Why? Because they did not change the way they were thinking about their problems. They needed to shift that. When you change your thinking, your behavior follows. So as you change your thinking, your activities, your action steps are going to be different. And your action steps will then lead you to a different outcome. And that's what we're looking for. That is as simple as I can put it, Michelle.
It's very simple and very clear. I mean, and I have a lot of people who come up to me and they'll say, well, I don't know. I really want to do this, but I don't know. And I'm thinking, I tell them, if you don't believe it, look at someone who loves you. So like with me, with my breast cancer journey, I looked at my children. They love me. My husband, he loves me. What in there what do they see in me? And what I did is I borrowed their belief in me and said, I'm going to borrow their belief until I believe it. And so I borrowed their belief and kept making small steps to change until I went, you know what? I got this. And then I started shifting. And that's a lot of you out there are thinking, I'm not worthy or I can't do it. Someone in your world believes in you. Borrow their belief until you believe it so you can momentumize yourself. Is momentumize even a word? But that's it. Just keep doing one small thing. As Einstein, I summarize Einstein as, if you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, that's insanity. Ellen Glasgow has a quote: the differences between a rut and the grave are the dimensions. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, all you're doing is digging a grave for yourself. If you want out of that grave, you must step out, make a new path to find your way. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
About 6 years ago, I've been asked for different people and people that I met over my time if I would mentor them. And I didn't really feel like I wanted to mentor people. And then I started realizing that in my life, if it wasn't because of my mentors, I would have never reached my potential.
Yes.
I remember as a young man that I couldn't afford to go to graduate school. My parents were trying to support us, but they made a bad investment, and my dad lost almost everything we had. And it was one of those deals that he felt that if he invested in oil rigs in Texas, he was going to maximize his returns by so much more than he could do in anything else. Well, it didn't work out the way he expected. So I had to sell, Michelle, the only possession that I own, and that was my car. I got a new car for my graduation, and I sold it to be able to pay until I can borrow money and be approved to borrow money to go to school. That was the greatest investment that I ever made in my whole life. That car, even though I sold it for half of the value, because people, when they know that you need to sell something, they can smell you and they're going to take advantage of you. So the best time to sell is when you don't need to sell. Remember that. So I sold this car and I was able to pay for my first two semesters of school. And then I was able to borrow money to finish school. Well, that car has multiplied in millions and millions of dollars over the years, all because I had to invest in myself before anyone else can invest in me. See, one of the biggest lessons that I learned when I mentor people is invest in you, because when you're clear about what you want, no other investment can give you a better return than you. You're the greatest investment there is, especially when you're clear about what you want. So as I started mentoring people, I realized that I started attracting not only millionaires, but billionaires now, and celebrities and influencers. And I have 83 of them that I mentor. And the reason that sometimes I ask myself, why would this person want me to mentor them? What can I offer them? What I realize is exactly what mentoring is. And you said it, Michelle, better. A mentor is somebody that sees in you what you cannot see yourself. Is somebody that believes in you when you cannot believe in yourself. So you have to borrow that mentor's philosophy, belief system, attitude, energy, excitement, passion, until you get strong enough that you can then internalize it yourself. So my first mentor saw me as a young student and said to me, one day you're going to be replacing me. Now he has 60 years and he was the most famous person in our industry, 60 years of contribution. And I was 22 years old. How can I ever see myself in that position? And when I was 33 years old, I became him. He passed away early, and the board asked me if I would take over this huge enterprise, and I became the youngest president of a college or university in the whole United States at 33 years old. Now
Wow.
imagine that. I never wanted that, but they wanted it for me. They knew that I could do the job, and we broke records because we put a great team together. And I knew that there was no coincidence. He saw something in me I could not see myself. So I'm asking you, who are your mentors? And you should have a mentor. Find the people out there that can believe in you greater than anyone can believe in yourself. My parents were my biggest mentors growing up. They encourage us, my brothers and I, to be able to be always great, to never settle for less, to recognize that it doesn't matter what we were going through. If we were going to do it, if we were going to study it, if we were going to choose a career, it was because we were going to be the best at it. They saw in us that potential, and most of us, I mean, all of us became great things because of that. And then as we got into more professional, I started attracting different mentors in my life for developing my own personal relationships, for investing properly my money, for be able to become not only a multiple best-selling author, but speaker and get on the media. I mean, I have incredible media expert mentors that are teaching me and grooming me to keep reaching millions and millions of people every week. So find a mentor. And I don't know, Michelle, what mentors you've had, but that is probably one of the greatest things that you said that it reminded me of why mentorship is so critical.
Oh, yes. I've had some amazing mentors. And what's funny is my very first mentor was my auntie in the Philippines. And then my grandmother, my grandfather, just watching their interaction in relationships. And then as I got older, my math teacher. I
Wow.
used to be very ashamed of being smart because the world opens for beautiful people. And so, and I was smart. I was always smart. I'm like, I don't want to be smart because smart people are nerds, and I would play down my intelligence. I would act like I didn't know. And my math teacher, her name is Mras. Sound familiar? She said, why are you doing this? Step up. I know you can do that. I know you have the answer. She would see in my eyes when she would put a problem on the board. I would have the answer, and she would do. So Michelle, give us the answer. I do. and I would back off. And she pulled it out of me, and then she would talk to me afterwards. Someone as simple as my teacher was a huge mentor in my life to know that I can achieve more. She actually, I did my TED talk on her, and I did my first book about her and what I learned from her. Because you never know what you're learning until you look back and do, wait a minute, I learned that from something small, like, cutting a pie and sharing it, things of that nature. And now, of course, my mentors are, you're one of my mentors. You just don't know it. And and then like John Maxwell. So when I came out of my brain injury, I looked at all my books. I have walls and walls of books. I kept seeing the name John Maxwell through my bookcase, and I'm like, I obviously really enjoyed this man. I need to go find whom I am since I lost so much of my memory. I went back to the books and went, he has a team. I need to be closer to him so I can figure out who I am. So I'm asking the audience right now, who do you listen to? Are you listening to the crabs in the bucket? Have you heard that analogy, crabs in the bucket, when you're with all these other people and every time you reach and you try to climb out, they pull you down and say, you're not good enough. You're like us. You're never going to make it. Or do you find yourself a new pool that you can swim freely? Or do you want to be an eagle and soar? So find that pool, that 7 people that you want to surround yourself with. And I found, and I stay around amazing people like Dr. Fab, because you might think great, wonderful things, but you need someone to see beyond you, beyond what you can see, and align. Oh, they're putting in the chat, don't forget to sing. But that's the thing, is you have to find mentors that bring you up. John Maxwell says things about the leadership lid. If you are trying to excel and get better in your life, if you find a mentor or someone to follow who is at your level, you will both stay there. What you need to do is find someone who's above you so that you can reach that, and then find someone else who's next, and you keep challenging yourself to be more so that you can reach who and what you truly are meant to be. And I know Michael just says, don't forget to sing. Dr. Fab, do you have any idea what I should sing? I know. I have to break into song. It's kind of my thing on this show.
I love it.
Let's see if I can do it. I'll build a stairway to paradise with a new step every day. I'm gonna get there at any price. Stand aside, I'm on my way. Go find a mentor to help you on along the way. A mentor to help you shine a new day, right? You have to find someone who believes in you so that you can be the best version of you, especially when you have those doubts in your head, that inner critic that tells you, maybe I'm not. Because I can assure you, you are taking breaths, you are worthy. Go do it. And as Dr. Fab says, one little step every day. And what little step can you do? My mentor, Paul Sheely, is my other Dr. Paul Sheely. He says, what can you do today that tomorrow morning when you wake up, you noticed it? You notice the change. It's something small, but know that tomorrow morning, you know what? I woke up a little earlier and I feel better. I can meditate now. Or, oh, I did this. Now I'm going to go to the gym and work out for 30 minutes. Whatever it is, what small thing can you do? It doesn't have to be big. So many people do, oh, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to go run a marathon. And then they hurt themselves. One small step. Everything takes one small step. As I share earlier, or I share from Dr. Paul Sheely, he said, as humans, we are born in pain. We come out of our mothers screaming. Our mothers are screaming. Someone slaps us on the butt, we're screaming. We start crawling, we hit our face. We pull up, we pull things on ourselves, we fall. We try to walk, we fall. But the magic in it is getting back up. You don't see toddlers getting up and doing, I wonder how everybody else is getting up. No, they just get up their way. Remember, with pain comes growth. With falling comes getting up. But we all forget as adults, we forget to get up. Dr. Fab came from another country, didn't even speak English, and still got up, found his way. You can do the same. I promise you, you can do your same. Find a mentor, find people who believe in you, and follow Dr. Fab. He's awesome to follow because he has such an amazing journey. And he brings tears to my eyes every time he talks because I can feel his energy through the screen. Can't you feel his energy? And a lot of you tease me because I sing and I'm always happy. It's because Dr. Fab and I have the same mentality on life. Enjoy the moment. Be the best version of you and keep getting up. If you want to live a long life and enjoy your days, go find what makes you healthy. Because I can assure you, I can promise you from my point of view, I know what unhealthy feels like. And I'm telling you, it's holding you back. Dr. Fab, we only have about 7 minutes left. And I would love for you to share, well, they know your website, drfabmancini.com, but the things that you shared at the group that when I met you, is how to be healthier, how to find that in you. Can you share a little bit about that so we can close up so they understand you're not just Dr. Fab on TV and all the books and on radio shows. You're Dr. Fab, a mentor that they can be watching right now.
Well, one of the things that I did during the pandemic is if you go to the website, drfabmancini.com, you can actually register for a lot of resources that are completely free. I used to charge $500 for them, but I'm just giving it out to people. You have videos, audios, workshops, all of these things that I just said, you know what? This is the time to give, not to take. And the reason that I do that is because I want you to recognize that there should be no excuse for you to make the decision that this show, this moment right now with Michelle and I, is a life-changing moment for you. You have to recognize that. We know that the reason that we do this is because we don't know which person that may be hearing us from the hundreds, if not thousands of people that are listening can make a change and can actually choose a better tomorrow. We know that you're capable of. I know that right now you may not feel that you can get out of the hole you're in or that you can surpass the challenge you're facing or perhaps that you can get back on your feet after all the challenges that we've been through. But I know, and she knows, that you can because we've done it. And we see people do it every single day in our lives. That's what keeps us motivated to be able to continue the mission and the work that we do. So take advantage of that. That's one thing. The second thing that I would tell you is one of the things that I learned in my life is that we should all have good rituals. You know, like if you want to be healthy, we have found that a good ritual is we need to move our bodies, right? For physical health, you need to move your bodies. And I want you to be able to make a decision that you're going to start moving your bodies today. You're going to start either walking, running, bicycling, swimming, whatever the choice of your choice is, whatever your preferred choice is. I just want you to move your body. The second thing is we need to make sure that we're very selective in the foods that we eat. We know that preserved foods and high carbohydrates, those are things that turn into sugar. And we know that sugar is one of the biggest causes for most of the illnesses and inflammation that we're facing. So I want you to reduce the sugar in your life and go back and start eating more vegetables and fruits and things that are natural. So that way your body can actually be able to regenerate and grow to be the one, the type of body that you deserve. And then lastly, make sure that you find a holistic doctor in your team of providers. It's important that you recognize that traditional medicine has been primarily focused on pharmaceuticals and chemistries, and that's fine because they can come in very handy at times. But I have found in my world that over 80% of the conditions we face can really be changed by simply changing our behaviors and our lifestyle. So a holistic doctor is going to do whatever natural that you can do, such as chiropractic, acupuncture, naturopathy, homeopathy. These are sciences that are extremely effective. Now, on an emotional plane, There are three emotions that would actually allow you to heal. The first one is you got to forgive yourself and forgive others. Let go of all the anger, the resentments, and the things that are holding you back. And I promise you that you're going to start being happier. The second thing is you got to live in gratitude. Be grateful for what you have instead of always wanting something more, right? Why would the universe give you more of what you don't appreciate? So appreciate your old shoes because they let you walk. Appreciate your old car because it takes you from one place to another. Appreciate your maybe not so nice apartment, but it's still a roof over your head. And lastly, love yourself unconditionally. Know that you are the one where love stems from. The way that you love yourself is the way that others will love you. So learn to be patient, loving, caring to yourself. Make time for you. And that would allow you to be able to be emotionally healthy.
Mic drop. Mic drop. Dr. Fab, thank you so much for taking time to be with all of us tonight. Because, yes, forgive, gratitude, and love yourself unconditionally. From all that, those three, just those three, do you see that the impact? Dr. Fab just dropped 3 major bombs in just 3 words, and they're so impactful on everything you can possibly have in your life. So forgive others, forgive yourself, have gratitude for everything, and love you unconditionally. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Dr. Fab, you're fabulous. I love following you, and you are my mentor. You don't see me on everything, but I'm there. I'm watching you. And I hope all of my followers and everyone else here is also watching you too. And Brian Swanson just said, also listening to the docs tonight. So I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your week. And remember, one little thing, like Dr. Fab said, one little thing, one change, and you will one day find yourself stepping. The next thing you do, you'll be running in your life towards the dream life you always wanted. Go be the best version of you. Be unapologetic. And until next week, ta-ta for now. Take care, everybody.